Hi, I'm Lori Anthony with ABC 7 News. Welcome to a forum of candidates running for the office of Contra Costa County Superintendent of Schools. Today's forum is sponsored by the Contra Costa Elections Division, the League of Women Voters of Diablo Valley, and the League of Women Voters of West Contra Costa County. We're recording these roundtables here in the studio of Contra Costa Television with some crew assistance from the city of Walnut Creek. The Contra Costa County Superintendent of Schools position is responsible for approving and monitoring all school district budgets, career technical education, charter school petitions, student suspensions, and discipline. The candidates are Lynn Mackey, Cheryl Hansen, and Ronald Leone. Now, we drew lots before the show to determine the speaking orders, so we will begin with Cheryl. Thanks for joining us. If you are elected, what will be your first priority?
My first priority as County Superintendent of Schools is really to build off my experience in working with school districts and the county office, and that's to create a stronger partnership between our 18 school districts and our County Office of Education, and to kind of re-energize that relationship and bring back some of the services that I think have disappeared from that work. It's also to build partnerships with our business and educational community and reach out. It's also to create the County Office of Education as a go-to place, as an educational resource, where right at this particular moment, folks often don't think of going to the Contra Costa County Office of Education for those services, and I'd like to re-energize that image of it and make it a public education resource.
All right, Cheryl, thank you. Lynn, same question. If you're elected, what will be your first priority?
Well, thank you. One of the priorities, as many people know, education and the role of the county office has drastically changed in the last few years. And getting that outreach out to the district and out to the public so that they understand the role. We no longer are what we used to be maybe 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. We are really about giving more targeted assistance to the districts. So I really would reach out to the districts, make sure they understand our role, and then really provide them the differentiated support they need based on their student performance. So we no longer are like the one-stop shop for just generic training. We really look for the areas that we can target with districts and really help the students in the classroom. And I think that the public and that some of the districts don't even know about the changing role because it is so new and it's changing on a state level and a local level.
All right, Lynn, thank you. Ron, same question. If you are elected, what is your top priority?
Yeah, it's really, Laura, there's too many things to just say one, but I'll just briefly tell you that we need to balance our budgets. We've got half of the districts that are not being sustainable right now. They've got unfunded liabilities that need to be met. Academic progress is really abysmal in our county, not in some of the nicer areas of the county, but we've got several places that test scores, our standards are below 50%. Meeting the standards. We need to expand vocational education. We need to improve school safety. We need to support our teachers, and we need to improve attendance. We have, according to the grand jury report, the worst attendance of all 9 Bay Area counties. So these are a lot of challenges that need to be met, and you need to have somebody in this office that's able to meet these. Thank you.
Ron, thank you. Next question, we'll start with Lynn. Why are you running for this office, and how do you think your positions differ from your opponents?
I'm running for this position because the mission and the services of the county office are my passion and my experience. I've been at the county office for over 21 years, starting as a teacher in the jails and being a principal in the juvenile halls. And one of the primary roles of the county office of education is to provide support and services to those most marginalized students in our counties, those students who have been pushed out or dropped out of the districts. And I have both the personal experience with that, where I was a dropout who returned to school as a single mother in my early 20s and got an education. I know what it is like to have the educational system not work for you, and it is so important to have an educational system that works for everybody. Students who are struggling, students who the traditional school system doesn't work for. I'm currently the deputy superintendent. I have experience in an array of services at the county office. I've worked with the budgets, I've worked with the programs and services, I've worked in all areas. I am current in education, I'm on state and local committees. I'm doing the work, and this is the work I want to do for the next decade. I want to stay doing this work. My expertise is in county offices of education. I've worked in districts, but this is the area that I have devoted my life and where I want to be of service.
All right. Ron, same question. Why are you running for the office, and how do your positions on policies and issues you think differ from your opponents?
Well, I wasn't a high school dropout. I actually have a breadth of experience in traditional schools, comprehensive schools of 3,300 students. There is a lot of experience that I could bring to the table, which is not only in education, which I've been Teacher of the Year and high school principal and assistant superintendent, but also in the business world. As the chairman of the board for a billion-dollar corporation, John Muir, and with the city of Concord's financing, being able to take that city's financing from coming out of a recession into creating a $30 million surplus.
All right, Ron. Thank you, Cheryl. Same question. You know, why are you running, and how do you think your positions differ?
Great. I'm running for County Superintendent of Schools because I've been asked repeatedly over the last few years to bring some leadership to the County Office of Education. My background is extremely unique. I call it going from the classroom to the boardroom. And what I have been is a teacher and an administrator in 3 school districts in our area. I've also been a 10-year employee of the Contra Costa County Office of Education as an administrator, training administrators, and working with all of our school districts and teachers on student learning outcomes and improving education. I spent the last 2 terms as a Mount Diablo Unified School Board member, where I have been responsible for a $360 million budget and several thousand employees, and working with community organizations in our 6 cities. So one of the differences between what I have done in my background is that I can bridge the gap between working with school districts, working with the County Office of Education, and working with governing teams, because my background experience covers that entire range, from teaching to administration to county office administration to governing board. And I think at this juncture with the County Office of Ed, it's critical that someone come in with a breadth of leadership experience who can work with all of those factions and bring them together in partnerships.
Thank you, Cheryl. A new question, and this time we'll start with Ron. What is your opinion of how charter schools best fit into today's public education landscape? And then how should the county office handle charter school requests going forward? It's been a huge issue in this county.
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to say that, I support high-performing schools or fast-improving schools, and to me, it shouldn't matter if it's private, magnet, traditional public, or charter schools, because it's for the kids, and every student counts, not just those in one type of school. So we need to support all of our schools as long as they're high performing. However, I will say that there is a role in which the County Office of Ed needs to do, and that is to provide oversight. And I would say that they're not providing very good oversight currently, even with the districts as well as the charters. I think they need to provide better oversight. They need to investigate a little bit more into what's going on in all of our schools. And so my belief is that every student counts. We need to support all high performing. If they're not high performing, then I think we need to stop them. and look to de-charter them or to improve these schools.
All right, thanks, Ron. Cheryl, same question. How do you see charter schools fitting into the county, and how would you handle charter school requests going forward?
Great. Well, I have done that as a Mount Auburn Unified School Board member. Charter schools' first application normally comes to a school district and to the governing board, and we review it and we make decisions on that. Then they go to the county office on appeal if a local school district rejects the charter. I've been involved with charter schools for a number of years, not as an employee, but as an administrator and as a governing board member. The important part for the public to understand is that charter schools from years ago started out under the concept of school choice, and they were meant to be an option for students still within the public education arena. Unfortunately, in the last 10 years, charter schools have become more and more for-profit, corporate-run organizations, and they are no longer interested in collaborating with school districts where they're usually situated. They've become more interested in how they can sort of recruit kids and sort of take services and try to profit off of those services. So our problem is in a complete lack of oversight, and the other dilemma is that the County Office of Education, which has heard several charters on appeal and has approved those charters, has sort of gone mute on the situation, and we no longer hear a voice of concern. We don't see that appropriate oversight of these charters. We don't see that partnership. We don't see that collaboration, and that's a serious omission that's harming our school districts. Charter schools from years ago, we have one in Mount Auburn Unified called Eagle Peak Montessori, which is extremely functional. It has an instructional purpose. It's all about students. It's all about education, and they partner with a school district. Unfortunately, in the last 5 or 10 years, those charter schools have become entities unto themselves, and they kind of try to lift themselves up by stepping on school districts. And that's a serious split that's occurred within our public school system. And the county office needs to step up to the plate with real leadership to hold those schools accountable and to really instruct the county board of education in what's happening in current education. So it's a serious, serious issue that many educators are quite concerned about. I have the background and the leadership to help facilitate that conversation and reach a better solution.
All right, Cheryl, thank you. Lynn, same question, the role of charter schools, and then how do you see handling applications requests going forward?
Well, I understand the frustration that some parents could feel within their own schools or their local schools that might lead them to seek out a charter school. But I do believe charter schools should be held up to the same standard for accountability, for academics, for transparency, for fiscal transparency. I believe the role of the county board, let me jump to the role of the approval process with the county board. That is who hears the appeals from the districts. And what a county office of education does is reviews the petition. There is a state rubric that we use. What needs to happen is some work needs to be done at a state level, because right now it is very easy to fit the criteria of a petition. We have, our board just recently as last week, denied a local charter petition that was on appeal. They have denied them in the past. They've approved the ones that meet the criteria, and then they have denied the ones that do not meet the criteria for a charter school. I do know that we encourage them as a staff to hold the charter schools up to a high expectation for all students, so that it really is a viable option for parents and students, because that really is that where charter schools came about was for choice for parents and students and community. I do believe that the role of the County Office of Education is to really provide that leadership and oversight for the charter schools, stepping in and really getting into their academic performance, their disciplined performance, their student due process, so that students can't just be kicked out of a charter school, and that they are having a successful educational experience. So thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to a new question. I think, Cheryl, this will be your question first. Special education is also a hot button topic here for school districts, teachers, parents. Do you have a plan as to how to address the issues that have arisen or may arise? And then also, how do you fund the plan in terms of providing the resources that you see needed?
One of the functions of the County Office of Education, along with our 18 school districts, is to provide special education services. So the County Office of Education has special education programs, but so do the other school districts within that county. So I think it's a question that, and a resource that we've grappled with for some years. Special education in our districts and county usually hovers around 10 to 11% of our students, and they are traditionally, it becomes more expensive to educate those students, but it's necessary to do that in a cogent manner. So we in Mount Auburn Unified, and in my work as an administrator, have always had sort of a community advisory committee. We've brought in parents, we've brought in business community to work with those, to support those programs and to include those parents in that process. My own situation has been over time, and I work still with special education teachers now, is working with them around how to create standards-based IEPs, how to raise the rigor and support for those special education students. I think one of the messages we always have to send is that special education has such a diverse range of learning needs, but that those students benefit most when we raise the expectations and increase the support. So what we've done in Mount Auburn Unified is really to include other support groups. We've also increased counselors for those students, increased academic counseling, increased social emotional counseling for them as well. We are actively, constantly on a recruit, as other school districts are, and the County Office of Education needs to be, recruiting those special education teachers, then finding opportunities for how to help provide professional development for them so that they stay current. It's a competitive field for all school districts, and we need to work with those staff to help increase the support for their learning and their functionality.
Thanks, Cheryl. Ron, same question. Special ed, hot button issue here in the county and for districts throughout the county. How do you address issues and then fund those?
Yeah, it is a very difficult question because of the fact that there is more funding needed, and unfortunately, that doesn't look like it's forthcoming. So what you're going to have to do is kind of reprioritize, make sure that you have the right balance. You need to take a look at each of your districts and see, are they doing the right thing? Do they have the right staffing mix, et cetera? It's also hard to get good trained special ed teachers. And one of the things that I'm working on with the City of Concord right now is we're looking to have affordable housing for teachers so that we could bring more teachers into our community, and then we'll be able to attract teachers, not just special ed teachers, but all teachers of all sorts. I think that that's going to be really important. I've had a lot of experience working with special ed, not only as a teacher and an administrator, principal, but in some of the schools that I've been at, like when I was principal at American High School, we were a magnet for special ed programs for especially students with high disabilities, and so we were able to help and cope with that, and then also we tried to do a lot of mainstreaming with some of our special ed students to put them into the classrooms themselves. So you work a little cooperation with that helps, but there's no doubt that we need more spots for our students to be able to attend. I know it's been troublesome in the past. I know in the Antioch School District they closed one of the special ed schools down, and it placed a large burden on that district. Those are the kind of things that we need to try to avoid.
All right, Ron, thank you. Lynn, same question. Special ed, how do you address issues and then fund solutions?
So the County Office of Education has a unique role in special education in our county. We are part of our SELPA, our Special Education Local Planning Council, with the smaller districts. Mount Diablo, West County, and San Ramon have their own SELPAs, but we are part of a collaborative where we work in partnership with the school districts. And we provide direct service to students with the most significant disabilities in our county. So these are cost-wise, this helps because we are able to pool our dollars and our spending power and have the economy of scale of supporting students who financially, whether it's they have a severe physical disability that needs medical attention on a regular basis or just a multitude of services that they need. So we are able to work with the SELPA, and we have a governing body that gets together all the districts and talks about how can we best serve the students, how can we best serve the needs of the districts. Really the model is really going to a more inclusion, and how do we get students to be able to stay within their district when at all possible, because not only is that better for the student and the family, it is more a cost-effective measure, and really you want students to not feel pushed out of their district. You want them to feel part of the process, and the goal of special education really is to have the student have a successful academic and experience, and we try to help them, meet their next transition to their next phase of their life.
And thank you. I think we have about 2 minutes left, so I'm going to throw out one last question. You're each going to get about 30 seconds. Real quickly, we'll start with Ron. What sort of resources and services do you see the district, the county superintendent needing to provide students to ensure their achievement beyond academics?
Beyond academics, well, you've got staff development needs, and in speaking to all of the superintendents within the Contra Costa County, one of the reoccurring themes has been the lack of strong support for professional development for staffs. In fact, some of them even saying that they wanted to go outside of the county to get the development because it wasn't as good here.
Thank you. Cheryl, 30 seconds. What do you think you need to provide as a county superintendent beyond what you do in the classroom?
I think there needs to be a stronger network with our 18 school district superintendents. I think there needs to be a stronger focus on career technical education and support for that. I think we're missing the mark quite often at the County Office of Ed in terms of actual relevant services that the districts so sorely need, and the partnerships and collaboration that they so often request.
Thank you. Lynn, same question. What other services?
Beyond the academics, I really feel we need to continue to provide the training in mental health services, social emotional services, career technical education. We provide a variety of career technical education in all of our districts, and we've been providing training in mental health in the classroom to really support students who need that type of support. So those are just a few of the areas that we need to focus on.
That is the end of our formal questioning. At this point, we thank you all for answering our questions on these important issues. Each candidate will now have 90 seconds to make a closing statement. We will start with, why don't we start as we started with the questions? Cheryl.
Great. Thank you. My passion has always been education, and I started my career as a classroom teacher. I taught middle school, high school, and alternative education for 17 years. I then went on to be a vice principal and an assistant principal and a high school principal opening a new high school. So I've had the opportunity to work in 3 different school districts as an administrator. I then went to the County Office of Education, where I mentioned that for 10 years I worked with all of our school districts, and in fact I worked throughout the state training administrators in leadership. I then was elected to the Mount Diablo School Board, and my goal in that setting was to change the culture of a school district. So my goals included creating a positive culture in this school district, finding new leadership, bringing back and restoring student programs and support services, and I've accomplished those things. I then turned my attention to becoming county superintendent of schools, because the request has been for the last several years for that kind of breadth of leadership that can actually coordinate between districts and the County Office of Ed. So leadership is really what I bring to the county office and the unique experience of having set and accomplished goals. But leadership only occurs in partnership with others, and that's where true education occurs. So I'm very proud that at this point I have the actual endorsement of our teachers, our instructional assistants, our counselors, our school psychologists, and our business community to help me accomplish these goals. So I would appreciate very much your vote for me on June 5th. Thank you so much.
All right, Cheryl. Thank you, Lynn. 90 seconds.
Thank you. So education has transformed my life. As I said, I went from a young person with no education to a person who got a degree, went to work in the jails so that I could give back what I had been freely given through education, a way of becoming a productive member of this society. And that is one of the primary roles of our County Office of Education, is to provide services for those most at need students. And my goal, not only are my priorities to help the districts with their plans and with their fiscal plans, and to provide career technical education for all of our districts, and to provide that early learning education that we provide for our districts, to really focus in on those children from birth to 5, because if we can make a difference there, we can make a difference in the future. But it is also to focus on those students who have been pushed out of the districts, who are in our juvenile court school programs, in our jail programs. I have been with the county office for 21 years. I have the leadership experience and the passion and heart to do this job. I am currently the deputy superintendent. I have the endorsement of the current superintendent, the state superintendent, all the surrounding county superintendents, as well as over 40 educators in our county. So I'd really appreciate your vote on June 5th. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Lynn. And finally, Ron.
Thank you. I'm Ron Leone, City Council member and former mayor of the City of Concord. Education has been my lifelong passion. I taught high school history, government, art, and law. I coached 4 county championship mock trial teams, and I was a baseball coach. I was the San Ramon Valley School Teacher of the Year, and also served as a high school principal, Director of Child Welfare and Attendance in Antioch, and also I'm the Assistant Superintendent at Clayton Valley. I was first elected to the Mount Diablo Hospital Board in 1990, served there for 16 years, and while I was there, I was able to help save Mount Diablo Hospital from closing. On the City Council, I've been able to help to take the from the recession, able to take our budget from being in a hole to having a $30 million reserve. I believe in vocational education, and I'm planning on expanding vocational education by creating a ROP, Job Training Center. Anyway, I don't have any more time left, so thank you very much. It's been great today, and I hope for your support. Thank you.
All right, thanks to all 3 of you. That concludes our forum of candidates running for the Superintendent of Schools in the June 5th primary. Once again, the candidates are Lynn Mackey, Cheryl Hansen, and Ron Leone. For more information on the candidates, visit the website votersedge.org. To view this broadcast online, go to www.cocovote.us/elections-preview. I'm Lori Anthony with ABC 7 News. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to vote on June 5th.